Growing up is so weird. At least to me it is. Like when I was a kid, I used to be so excited to get older. I thought I'd be like so free to do whatever I wanted all the time. And then I got older and I realized that that's actually what it's like to be a kid, but sometimes, not always. You have a lot more free time because you don't really have big responsibilities other than like school and maybe homework, whatever. And then you get older and you think you're gonna have all this free time, and in reality, even if you do have a lot of free time, you're just too tired to do anything with it. At least in my cases, it's usually how it goes. Just too tired to even enjoy my free time, or I have other bigger responsibilities I have to take care of. Just kind of sucks. I don't really spend a lot of time wishing I could like go back to when I was a kid. There's definitely been days or times that it's like, man, I wish I could just rewind time, go back to when I was younger and live that freedom again. But I like being older now. It's just weird to me how much things change as you're older, and not even just as a whole. I mean, like, yeah, your body changes, etc., whatever. But I mean, like, in my case, with my parents, as I got older, I started getting more and more stories and more information about my own upbringing, of things I didn't realize or just wasn't made aware of when I was younger, you know. And like you always run into those situations where your parents are talking about something and you don't understand it, and they go, "Oh, well, we'll tell you when you're older," and maybe they do. But for me, it's just been weird. Like growing up was never a bad childhood. I don't think I ever had a bad childhood. I think if any parts of my childhood were bad, it was my own fault for not doing things, not going places, whatever. But it's just been weird life. Been a weird life. I feel like I mostly grew up on the internet. Just ever since I was able to, I was on the computer playing games on Newgrounds or Armor Games or, all those old Flash game websites, watching videos I probably was too young to be watching, but I had pretty unlimited internet access from a young age, so I was pretty free to just explore, and that's why I spent most of my childhood right here on the internet, on YouTube, on Newgrounds, like I said, playing games, watching videos I shouldn't be, and I think it's had a weird outcome on my life to some capacity. I don't think I'm like super antisocial. I mean, I'm not the most extroverted person of all time, but I'm not like super awkward in person when I'm talking to people. I feel like I can, I feel like I can be pretty social. I don't enjoy it by very many means, and I don't know if growing up on the internet had an effect on that or not. I mean, most of my friends growing up, I had my handful of friends in real life, but for the most part, my closest friends were all on the internet with me on PlayStation for years and years. I mean, my one of my best friends is the one who introduced me to PlayStation when we were little, going to daycare and whatever. He's the one that wanted me to get a PlayStation. Obviously, I didn't buy it myself. I was a little kid, but to kind of set my life on a path, I feel like. I mean, I played video games a lot when I was a kid, or I guess I watched my brother play video games a lot when I was younger. Used to watch him play Xbox, or I mean, even before that, I used to watch him play like PlayStation 2, sitting side by side and sometimes trading off. Most of the time, he'd just get pissed off because I was looking at him funny or something, and he'd just get mad and be like, "You think you can do it better? I'd like to see you try." And then he wouldn't let me even try. But no, it's just kind of been circling my brain about growing up. I mean, I'm still growing up. I'm not old by any means. I'm not young anymore, but I feel fucking old. My body feels old. But it's just weird to me, and everybody has a different upbringing. Nobody's two childhoods are going to be the same. They might be similar, and I guess especially if you grew up together, you might have similar childhoods, but nobody's going to have the same childhood, and it causes a big effect. I feel like obviously it's your childhood, it's going to affect how you turn out as a person, but it's just as I've gotten older and I've talked to more people, I've realized how different it can be, how unique it can be. And even me and my two closest brothers that I grew up with, granted one of them being like 7 years older than me, the other one's 2 years older than me, but we all lived very different childhoods from coming from the same household. And I think a big part of that is when I got old enough, I went and lived with my mom. My closer brothers stayed with my dad, and so obviously that had a pretty different effect on our upbringing and how we came to be. But talking to friends and things like that, you just kind of realize how strange some people's life is, or how strange life in general can be. I've had friends that grew up with one parent or no parents, foster home, whatever. I mean, obviously, your parents are going to have a huge effect on how you come to be, how you grow up, with them being the ones that raise you, and everything in your life affects how you grow up. The friends you make, the friends you keep, friends you lose. I keep doing this. Oh my goodness. They all have an effect in some capacity on how you turn out, what you end up doing, or who you end up being as a person. And that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing how much small things can influence you without realizing it. Like I love hearing stories of like when my kid was 3 years old, they started playing with this little toy piano and they grew up to be a musician. You know, stuff like that is just, and maybe there's no real correlation there, but it feels like there is. If it's something you have loved since you were a little kid, it tends to influence what you love as you get older. And there's something beautiful about that, I think. But just as a whole, life is so weird. It's so weird. I don't know how many times I'm going to repeat that life is weird, but that is kind of the basis of this video, is how strange life is, how strange life turns out, and how weird growing up is. Like I said, when I was a little kid, I was so excited to get older. As I got older, I realized that getting older is not all that it's cracked up to be when you're young and kind of dumb. Kind of, you don't realize. I keep bringing these carrots too early. Anyways, you don't really realize how hard life is when you're a kid. You don't, maybe you do, maybe you have a better understanding. Maybe your parents tried to teach you from a young age how difficult life is when you have to get a job and you have to pay bills and have all kinds of responsibilities. I didn't really have that kind of a, I almost want to fill this all the way in. I didn't really have that kind of an upbringing that I was, I suppose, prepared to grow up. Honestly, I don't think there's any amount of preparation, that any amount of learning, or anything that can prepare you for what it's like to actually grow up, and the things that you will encounter and the life that you will live is something that I don't think anybody can be prepared for. I mean, sure, you can have better situations to overcome those kind of things. Like you might be born into a lot of money, or your family just is well off and they like spending their money on you, and that can make things a lot easier, can help get situations handled a lot better. But even then, nothing can prepare you for what's to come, what you might go through, what you might experience as you get older. You fall in love, you lose friends, make friends. I don't think anything can prepare you for that kind of a situation. And maybe that's just me. Maybe I was never mentally prepared to handle the world that we live in. Maybe I'm from a young age I was just cursed to always be stuck looking at the past. But I don't think I do. I don't think I live wishing I could go back. Like I said earlier, there's been times that I definitely have wished I could rewind time and either do things differently or just relive those times again, the golden days, if you will. I've had a few different points in my life that I would consider the golden days, and you don't really realize it's going to be over until it's over. And that sucks. Definitely sucks. I don't think you should spend your time regretting or wishing you could go back. I think that's a waste of time. I think you should always be looking forward and always put your best foot ahead, but it's definitely hard. I mean, I'm a very nostalgic person. I've made a lot of stupid choices that have led me to stupid places, and it's caused me a lot of grief over my friends and my family that I don't see or don't have anymore. But again, I don't ever try to regret the time spent. I don't ever try to, I would not change my life for anything. I said there's things I would love to go back and do differently. And sure, I think everybody could probably relate to that in some capacity. A lot of people make a lot of embarrassing mistakes, a lot of stupid things. I've said a lot of stupid things to a lot of people that I regret, but I'll, I, I can't say that because I don't regret. I just said that I don't regret the things that I've done and the things that I've said and the person that I was. It's who made me me. So be proud of who you are. Be proud of the life you've lived. Be proud of the things you overcame. Don't spend your time looking back and wishing and wondering what could have been or what you might have done wrong. It doesn't matter in the end. We're all going forward. We're all growing up, and some faster than others. It's raining, so I think I'm gonna wrap this up. But like I said, just be proud of who you are. Be proud of the life you've lived, the things you've overcame, and the challenges you faced. Because there will always be more. As sad as it is to say. So hopefully it'll get easier one day at a time. But that's okay. Growing up is weird. Life is even weirder. But well, we're all in it together. So thank you for watching. I love you all. Have a good rest of your day, good rest of your weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow.